Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. I wanted to talk about Star Citizen Alpha 3.23. It's live. People are playing it. We know that there's a 3.23.1 also currently being tested on the PTU, but 3.23 holds some hidden features or features that you may not be aware of, and I want to talk about that and sort of what's next from those series of .x patches as we move towards Star Citizen Alpha 4.0, which is the next major patch now. Firstly, your custom characters can now be saved when you create them and can be imported into your Star Citizen Live user client 0 folder. So there's a custom characters folder there. Bam, you can grab your files out of there, you can put them in. There's a website where you can see other people's creations and actually use those characters. I'm using a BoredGamer character that someone else made for me, and this is really cool because you can then just use them next time there's a wipe. Bam, just reload that character file. Distribution centers are all over Microtech and Hurston, and some locations may only appear on your map if you have a mission for them. There is a huge range of missions associated with distribution centers, and there's also some settlement missions as well, and some interesting stuff going on with the reputation system, with hostility-based reputation now associated with some of those settlements, so they will start to dislike you permanently and attack you if you sort of annoy them. There has been a big economy rework in Alpha 3.23, and this is going to cause some people a lot of annoyance, other people are going to love it. We're working towards a dynamic economy. At the moment, we don't have that. We have very much static economy with occasionally changing and rebalancing of prices. So the salvage prices, the money you can make from RMC and construction materials have had a big change. RMC, that's been raised to around like 15k unit, I think, and construction materials have seen a huge drop to 1.5k Alpha UEC. So bear that in mind, big change and drop to those salvage construction material prices. This was largely due to salvage kind of flooding the market and kind of just devaluing Alpha UEC, I would say causing inflation, but prices weren't rising. Missions have had a big reward pass too, with a focus on rewarding effort and time and difficulty. Ships and vehicles are now much more expensive to purchase in-game with Alpha UEC, with an average price rise of 1.5 to 3 times, but sometimes as much as 8 times. It's based on ship rarity and the pedigree, and are they like a dedicated military ship, and size being a big factor. Loads more ships are available in the shops as well now. The Fury MX and LX, the Lynx Rover, Hull C, Spirit A1 and C1, the Cutter Scout and Rambler, the SRV, the Storm and AA variant, the Santok Yai, and the X1 series of hoverbikes. Also, the loot pools have been updated, so you'll notice a load more of the sort of subscriber items and some other items being added to the loot pool that you wouldn't have seen before. Subscriber items typically have at least a 3-month exclusivity period before they're then available in the loot pool, basically being found in boxes and on bodies. Now, some quantum jamming and entanglement updates. So, quantum jamming now prevents the spooling of your quantum drive, and quantum dampening will limit the ship's speeds to SEM speeds, basically negating the use of nav mode. Talking of quantum mode, B, pressing and holding B will now go into nav mode as part of the master mode split. Left click is now quantum travel when you're fully spooled in nav mode. You can also press middle mouse while in nav mode to go into a marker free travel mode. Tons of interactions for your ship will now work a lot better than they have before. You'll have better access to doors and buttons and turrets and that sort of stuff. You will notice that switches and things that didn't work or were very fiddly before now sort of work as part of the interaction system. And I believe changes to your MFDs and that sort of stuff in your cockpit are persistent in that ship. As long as you haven't lost that ship, as long as it hasn't been sort of reclaimed, those changes will remain there, so you don't have to keep on tweaking it every time you get in after spawning it. There's been a ballistic ammo pass, so this has seen smaller ballistic weapons get a load more ammo and larger ones get less ammo, overall anyway. There's an EMP and distortion pass, making these distortion weapons and EMP weapons much more viable in game and reasonable, and affect quantum drives a load more. Quantum's very vulnerable to that kind of damage. There are so many updates and changes to weapons and gunnery and combat and all that sort of jazz, which is covered in the patch notes that I've already done. I mean, you can just read about in the main patch notes. There's been a tractor beam pass as well. Stuff should be working a lot better there, and the dedicated salvage and tractor beam tools, they are a lot more effective at their tasks. The Ares Ion now has a charged shot, so you basically charge it up for very high damage and fire it, and it can sort of deal significant or even destroy lighter, smaller ships with one fully charged shot. This is interesting as well because you can just sort of fire it off relatively quickly, but it's a lot lower damage. Singes and mass driver weapons have received a load of buffs in this patch, and they probably are going to be the PvP choice. They seem to be incredibly powerful on paper. The Freelancer has had some internal updates. That ship is in very good gold standard position now. Ship AI in general is much, much better. Also, server tick rates. They are appearing to be able to go into the sort of 60s now, at stable 50, 60 a lot of the time. If a server is 30 ticks or more, it is in a great state. Although it's in the patch notes, very much so. The engineering gameplay mode in Arena Commander, that experimental mode, is absolutely fantastic. It is worth playing. It needs a load more gameplay to it, but it is a good laugh to play 6v6, two A2s fighting each other, or a wing of Gladius versus the A2 with engineers running around and trying to repair it and then potentially getting boarded. And it's a good laugh, and it sort of gives you a deeper understanding of what they want from multi-crew gameplay, although it needs a lot more there, a lot more depth of gameplay. The Moby class, there's a rework there. Moby class shows a ton of stuff, including details of your ship and distance of it, multiple ships. There's, at a glance, just a ton of information here. With the star map, you can actually see the light and dark side of planets. So you can go, well, I don't want to go here because I want to get some, I want to do some missions or whatever on the light side of the planet, or I'm going to be searching for copions on the light side. It's pretty useful. The star map is just a click to set course now. So people will be like, where's the set course button? Or how does course set? You just click there and the course is set. It doesn't really notify you of that. You still might have to make multiple jumps to a location though, because it'll go, yes, your location's this space station, but you actually have to go to the planetary body first, and then this orbital marker, then the space station. For the local and mini map, to move between floors when you're in that sort of map app, it's Q and E, or Shift Q and E. To set a custom marker for interior maps, you can press T. At the moment, these can't be shared or put in space yet, but hopefully that is coming soon, that functionality. Talking about interactables, tapping F will use the default action on the current item or interactable you are at. You can hold F still and then move the cursor and then left click to interact with something in front of you. You can also right mouse button to open the action wheel while in that mode over an object, and then release it to do the action. The personal inner thought menu can also just be accessed anywhere by you pressing left alt and F. Another useful function is pressing right alt and H, which will toggle your helmet on and off for quick eating and drinking, or panic putting your helmet on, playing helmet chicken with no atmosphere. There is dynamic crosshairs for combat helmets as well. If you've got a combat helmet on, you will have hit markers, kill markers, the dynamic crosshair, and you can turn this stuff off in settings if you want. You're like, I don't want a kill marker. Well, it's sort of a feature of the dynamic crosshair stuff, sort of rewarding you for having that gear, if you see what I mean. Repooling of ammo is a thing, and using magazines from your backpack. So in the bottom right of your HUD, if you see a little backpack icon near your ammo count, that's because you're taking your next magazine from your backpack. You can also go, I've got lots of magazines with little tiny bits of ammo in, and you can repool ammo into the minimum amount of magazines that you would be able to carry that ammo in by pressing left alt and 1. It takes some time. Left alt and X will reload your secondary weapon as well, as a cool little hotkey to remember. Glint on sniper scopes is in for 8 times or more scopes. Okay, so if you've got high-powered scopes, basically you can see the glint on the scope in the distance if the scope is being pointed at you and the player is aiming down the scope at the same time, or player or NPC, I should say. A lot of people annoyed by the sort of glint on scopes. I think it's fine at the moment. It means that snipers don't just annihilate everyone, and let's see where it goes with that, because it's only in very specific circumstances, and it's just nice to see a glint just before you get shot in the face. Bullet drop is a bigger thing though now. Zeroing is now more essential, and I don't believe there's any form of auto-zeroing features. It looks like the Starcloth tech is in now that was showcased at CitizenCon. Medical gowns have been updated with that, but you'll notice that on other sort of cloth as well. Item banks are around the landing zones, but they are not functional until 3.23 later. Might be part of 3.23.1. We'll sort of have to wait and see, but I do think it's going to be 3.23.2. The new player experience tutorials now work in every major spawn location, I believe. Some public service announcements and some other stuff you might want to know. Turning off camera shake is very useful for if you want to enable DLSS or FSR, any of that sort of upscaled res stuff. Vulkan isn't fully optimized yet, so I wouldn't recommend using that. For many people, it's just going to be less efficient at the moment than using the standard DirectX 11, Direct3D 11 stuff. Server recovery, when basically a server 30Ks, assuming the server's 30K'd and you haven't like disconnected from the internet or something, you should be able to just wait there, can take a couple of minutes, and then you should be, bam, put back into a functional server where you were. Some weird stuff can happen. It can drop your missions. It can cause problems with trespassing, and there can be the despawning or spawning of NPCs in that area. Some other stuff I should probably mention. First-person shooter time to kill should be much quicker now because items no longer block bullets. Hit reg is better, and there has been a weapon pass on everything, and servers should be performing better. They've basically increased damage on a load of weapons as well, so they've improved aim and recoil. They've tweaked other bits as well, so you're less likely to get like instantly one shot, especially if you're wearing heavy armor. But by far the biggest change to 3.23 stuff, and a load of the hidden features are to do with master modes, the ship flight, the gunnery, all of that sort of jazz. And I've talked about it in my last video. It's part of the patch notes, sort of covers some of it, but really you're going to want to get in, mess around with master modes, mess around with the operator modes. You can switch between them with middle mouse button, because they've separated them all out for salvage and missiles and scanning and all that sort of jazz. Just middle mouse button sort of changes to all of them. And there are a ton more keybinds that you can set in the options. Now, this is one of the things that I recommend players do, especially if they're using HOTAS or a loop deck or a stream deck or Game Glass. There's just tons and tons and tons and tons of other buttons and features that you probably aren't aware of that are in the keybind options that allow you to just have a better, quicker, easier, more streamlined Star Citizen experience by setting that stuff. There is a ton more coming with Star Citizen now for 3.23.1, which is on the PTU at time of recording already. There's all that Fleet Week stuff in there, but also all med beds, including the tier 3 ones, now allow for respawning of players, with better tiered beds basically giving you a longer range of being able to be resurrected in those beds. There's also the addition of some new ships, the Sabre Firebird, the MPU V1T, and the Urza Medivac. The Retaliator has made its gold standard known, and it's got its different various module variants as well in that patch. Expect all that sort of stuff to be released during Fleet Week. We know that Alpha 4.0 is the next major patch because that's what CIG have said. This is roughly planned by the end of summer this year. But also, there will be other 3.23.x patches during the next few months that will include big cargo updates with persistent customizable hangars. And this is going to be wherever you set your home location, you get your persistent hangar, and the rest of the hangars are considered sort of like public hangars, which you don't have persistence with. You don't have the ability to leave objects and couches and silly things there to come back to. Freight elevators are also in that one of those patches, and that's going to basically have you interacting with the kiosk and then physically loading and unloading cargo from your ship to the landing zone, vice versa, and doing cargo management there. You've got cargo hauling missions, very excited for them, and item banks, which are little areas where you can interact with a kiosk, and they basically allow you to store and pick up smaller items and gear at landing zones, move them around. Expect a few more minor features to turn up, and a boatload more fixes and optimizations. Boom! That's it for your sort of hidden features of 3.23 and some of the stuff that is in there. We do know there's like other stuff. There's the interior of the Idris and stuff like that as well. We're going to have the Xenothreat Phase 6, the original sort of Xenothreat dynamic fleet battle and refueling of the Javelin. That's going to be run after Fleet Week, but that event's been updated as well. But yeah, there's loads of stuff going on. It's very cool. I'm very excited for more and more content to be dropped into this patch, and I'm quite enjoying 3.23 at the moment, but the more bugs they can fix as they get towards Fleet Week, the better. I'm interested to know if you've seen any other hidden features that sort of aren't mentioned on the patch notes or roadmap or whatever in 3.23. What are you excited for? Are you going to be jumping into Fleet Week? Are you super excited for those cargo updates whenever they are coming? Whatever your thoughts or questions, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. I'd also love it if you went, I need a VPN. Maybe nordvpn.com/BoredGamer will help. And there's links below to that, and you get a discount on NordVPN. It gives you additional protection and securities and accessibilities of the interwebs. That stuff just supports the channel. We also have the very lovely Tobii Eye Tracker, which is natively supported by Star Citizen, giving you precision eye and head tracking in-game. That is on sale, one of those Tobii Eye Tracker 5s, until the 20th of May. Again, use my links down below. May in Star Citizen is about fleets and Fleet Week and flying with friends, and we've partnered up with Lunar Wolves, a Star Citizen org, to give away a fleet of ships. Commenting on any of my videos during the month not only gets you a chance to win a Spirit C1, but also a Constellation Andromeda, a Vanguard Sentinel, and a Corsair, courtesy of Lunar Wolves. They'll each be going out to a different winner chosen randomly from the video comments. But wait, there is more. Sign up to the Lunar Wolves recruitment page, link down below, for a chance for even more ships, including an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance and a Hornet F7C Mark II. Winners of those will be selected randomly from eligible org signups. Lunar Wolves welcome all that share their passion for adventure and love of Star Citizen. You can learn more about them on their org page or at lunarwolves.org. If you would like to further support our channel, please like, subscribe, comment, share these videos. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, and I would love you to, please consider becoming a Patreon or clicking that join button under my videos. It goes a huge way in allowing us to make daily content and keep the channel going. You'll get some exclusive content from that as well. Anytime Zin and I can actually put it out, as well as help evolve the channel with polls and suggestions and that sort of stuff. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and have a great May. It's going to be a good one.